So, welcome to Venice. It's so nice to have here the two female protagonists of a film that, like most of the movies that Paul Schrader makes, is centered on a male. But you have two characters that are polarized. There are two versions completely different that, in a way, determine the fate of the protagonist. I would like you to tell me something about your characters. Yours is especially off the map because the relationship between your character and Joel Edgerton's is so unusual and so unpredictable.
Well, one of the things that surprised me about the script was that it had these two very strong women characters, and I can only speak about Norma really, but he wrote such a complex woman, and no holds barred at a certain point when things go wrong. And but until then, he allows Norma to really flourish. So you see, I think I tried to just make her as real as I could, and I based her on a couple of women I really admire. Of course, she's behaving more badly than they do, but I loved Norma. I believed in Norma, and I believed that Norma was hoping to address mistakes she'd made a long time ago. And so it was great to start in one place and move to so many other places. And Paul's such a skilled writer, and I thought he really created two really rich women.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about your character and the way you approached it?
I think for me, I based facets of Maya off of a lot of the situations, environment, and I think people that I've been around in my life. And I don't know, I think she's incredibly complicated, and it's weird because even now I feel like there are parts of playing this character that I still don't understand to this day, right?
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to place her, even having this conversation, I'm trying to find the words, because the way that Paul writes, though very structured and very everything on the page, it's almost as if everything is created in this way that is open for interpretation. And so it's kind of in the viewpoint of the beholder of how do you see the character, and how does she evolve and how does she grow. And so playing with that was a journey in and of itself, and also just a massive honor to be trusted with that and to be able to do that work.
Well, I was wondering, what's Schrader's MO on the set? You say it leaves the character open to interpretation. Do you do a lot of rehearsal, or does he give specific directions on how you should approach the character, or does he wait for what you bring to it?
I found him, even in rehearsal, didn't want to impose anything on us. He really was taking a huge chance. What would we do with these parts? And it was, he didn't, I remember Joel asking him about Oscar Isaac's wrapping all the furniture. What was that about? And Paul said, I told Oscar that was his job to figure out. He had to come up with his own reasons. And I felt that Paul was completely generous about that. He trusted us, and whatever came out of Norma, which was really Pandora's box by the end, he went with it. He never told me more or less anything. He just of course we had no time. We had 2 minutes to do every scene. And I think he likes it that way because it has to be so primal.
I read that he had a serious health problem almost when he was finishing the film. And he went to work anyway. So I was wondering, did it tell you that? Did you perceive that he was unwell at the moment? And how did his attitude change on the set that day?
I think something about Paul that's inspired me the most is he loves filmmaking and doing this so much that regardless of whatever happens, he will always be there to shoot. and like show up not only for us but also like for himself and for the story and for the sake of these characters. And so for me, like honestly, like he was just the biggest inspiration of like, get it at all costs. And like, yeah, but very inspired by Paul.
Yeah. And he kept working on the script too. It was kind of perfect, but every now and then there'd be something that we hadn't kind of figured out. And by the day you got to that scene, he would have solved it. So every day he was excising one word or replacing it, or then, tiny things, but they made a huge difference. I was very moved by that because, of course, actors are always trying to get it right. And he never stopped working on the script. I was so moved by that.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.